Hi, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. So, what is something that might be hard for a lot of people, but important for everyone to have? So, we've been talking about our senses, and today I'm going to be talking about the sense of touch. Touch is important. And so, I am going to tell you right now that I did not like hugs. I didn't like to be touched. I still am not one that likes, to be touched. I'm learning to like touch. Well, I'm going to just be honest. If you've dealt with physical abuse of any kind, that might be something that's hard for you. And so be okay with where you're at, but just know that touch is important. And I'll get into that here in a minute. But let's just talk about touch when we were younger, when we were little, the different textures that we would learn to touch, right? We learned really quick not to touch a hot stove because it's going to burn you, or a fireplace. We learned really quick not to touch, the prickles or the thorns on a rose because we were going to get hurt or stabbed, or, cactus. We just learned how to navigate the dangerous things to touch. And then we had our favorite things that we loved to touch, whether it was like, if you'll see a lot of babies, they like to rub the edges of blankets that have the silky stuff. They like that feel. And so we all have had our favorite feels. I just know, even as an adult, I'll be like at the Home Depot, they'll have these rugs, and they're so soft, and it's like you just can't help yourself but just rub the rug because it feels so soft. So touch is an important part of just enjoying life, and nature is a great place to touch the different textures. There's leaves with different textures. There's I call it the Boy Scout toilet paper. It's the I I don't know if it's exactly lamb's ears. Lamb's ears are soft, but there's stuff out in nature that I'm not sure if it's just lamb's ears or like lamb's ears, but it is so soft, and it's fun to touch. And so there's just different fun things that we can touch in nature. So it's just called exploring, becoming, you know, turning to the inner child within and exploring around you. So let's go back to touch. It's so important to have hugs. When I was in my unhealthy mindset, I didn't like hugs. In fact, if someone came in for a hug, I would just like stiffen up and go straight as a board, like, don't touch me. You're in my bubble, get out of my bubble. And so I have learned to be a hugger. I like hugs, and I'll go in to hug people, but when people don't want to be hugged, they just kind of standoffish, and that's okay. Like, and I'll tell people it's okay. I totally get it. I'm used to not be a hugger myself, so it's important to have connection. We as humans are losing connection, I feel, as time progresses on, especially as there's so many things vying for our time, like social media, uh, entertainment industry, whether it's through movies, television, uh, you name it, video gaming. There's so many things, and then work and the rat race of life. There's just so many things vying at our time, just, tugging at us, and we are not connecting as much with others as we should. Most of us, when I say we are not. uh, so it's important to maintain connection. And how can we connect? Well, studies have proven that 8-second hugs at least 3 times a day, but several times a day, 8-second hugs with your loved ones is such a great way to release certain endorphins in the brain, certain chemicals that is just the feel good chemical. And so that is something that I still need to continue to work with. I have a lot of people in my family, so that's it's hard to connect, but I put that in the back of my mind to remember that those hugs are important. Everybody needs hugs, even if they happen to be somebody that does not like hugs. It's something great to develop because we need that connection. And I would like to talk about touch in an abstract form. So, touch is, physical, right? With our hands and stuff. But what about touch? Think about who has touched your life. Who has touched your life through a kind act of service? Who has touched your life with, our hands are, I think, now I'm going to totally botch it, but you'll have to read her book. Her book is amazing. And I think it's Daring to Be Great. I believe that's in that book by Brene Brown. I love it. But she talks about uh, our, um, our hands and heart are connected. And so, that's touch. Whatever we touch, whatever we go to do to serve, they're connected, our heart and hands. So service is a great way to be able to touch the lives of others. And I just think of all the different people that have touched my life, whether it was by stopping by and giving me a book. They thought of me and said, hey, I thought of you, and I'm do what you want with it. And of course, I take those as there is no coincidence of people walking into your life. And so pick up on those, because God speaks to us through others. God speaks to us through nature. God speaks to us in the stillness of our hearts and minds, when we allow for that quiet time to reach us and to just be still. And God speaks to us through and I think I already said it, but through acts of service, people, and through what people tell us. Sometimes people have a message for us that we just need to hear. And so just pay attention to the world around you. Be in the now. Allow yourself to be present and in the now, and aware of what's going on, aware of if somebody is hurting around you or not. Who can we touch today? Whose lives can we touch today through touch? In an abstract form, right? And sometimes it's just a pat on the back, or a gentle touch on the shoulder of, hey, you've got this. Like, and even if it's a complete stranger, like, I know a lot of people have their bubbles, but even if it's just on the shoulder, and I feel bad. I totally get it, how we live in a world where adults, and not your children, and keep your hands to yourself, and we live in such a, like, teachers are on guard, like, you're not allowed to hug and to uh be as touchy, but people need touch, and there is such a need for touch. I have found that when my kids are acting the most obtuse towards me or towards life, I have found that to just bring them in and just hug them. And sometimes they fight me on this hug, but that's when they need it the most. And so think of whose lives you can touch through a word, a thought that comes to mind, um, an act of service, or just a smile. Just sharing your smile and your bright energy. The light of Christ is love, and learning how to share that love with others around you is important. And so, yeah, that is what I wanted to share about touch. Touch is important. It's important. I had to allow myself to get out of my comfort zone. I had to allow myself to be willing for others to reach out to me, and it's still taking time, right? I still have to, even with my own husband, I have to, we have different love languages, right? So the love languages are, let's see if I can remember this off the top of my head, but there's words of affirmation, there's touch, there's acts of service, quality time, and oh, I knew I'd do this on um but there's these five love languages, right? And a lot of men love words of affirmation and touch. And I'm not saying that's all of guys' love language, but that just happens to be my husband's love language is words of affirmation and touch. And where I have struggled with touch, I have had to get out of my comfort zone and just know that, you know what, he just wants a little scratch on the back. Just reach out and, rub on his back, or just reach out. So learn what the love languages are of the people around you, your loved ones especially. And if touch is it, and you are not, your love language is not touch, mine's more of acts of service and quality time. And so just know what those love languages are. And even if it's not, be okay with the touch. Um, Anyway, it's a great way to connect. And like I said, we are losing connection. The human race as a whole, I feel like, are losing connection with each other, but it doesn't have to be that way. Set time aside, turn stuff off, connect, and just connecting through touch. Uh, just simple little gestures that go a long, long way. It's like you're reaching out, no matter how you're reaching out, whether it's a rub on the back or a touch on the shoulder or a hug, a full-on hug, or just, placing your hand on theirs. Like, just touch is touch, and it's important. It's connection. And I know that it's something that we all need and we probably all don't have enough of. So I encourage you to touch. And you know what? Go ahead in the comments and give me a 1 if you don't like hugs. Give me a 3 if you've been a hugger. If you've always been a hugger and have loved hugs, put a 3 in there. I want to know. And maybe a 2 if you would like to work on becoming more of a person that likes to touch. Would love to learn to step out of your comfort zone and do that more, and challenge yourself this week. Challenge yourself today to reach out and be okay with that physical touch. And anyway, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, and I also invite you to, as always, click on the link in the comments below. I have a 12-week online course for Christian women. No matter where you find yourself in the world, I help women connect with themselves, God, and others around them. If I dealt with childhood pain and trauma that I didn't know how to overcome, I was this stuck victim for 30 plus years in depression and suicidal thoughts. I was not in a good spot. I had no love for myself. I found it difficult to love others around me, because if you can't love yourself, it's really hard to be able to share love to those around you. And forgive yourself. If you can't forgive yourself, it's really hard to do the same, to forgive others around you. So I just, in this 12-week course, I really go in deep in how to heal spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, and help start that journey or continue if you're already on that journey. I just help give out of the box ideas that will help have a strong connection, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And anyway, click on that link below. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask me. Also, if there's something that you would like me to talk about, or a topic that you're kind of curious, if I know about it or have passion about it, I'll definitely add it. But if I don't know about it, I'm definitely wanting to learn, and I'll let you know, like, hey, that's something that I would like to learn about too. So I would like to hear from you. What do you want to hear from me? So anyway, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. God bless.